He's in the building.
We'll call the council meeting to order. Our outgoing Recreation Commissioner, Marilyn Summers, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and go ahead.
You're right.
Ask her
Clerk.
to call the roll.
Please call the roll.
Dave Abdallah.
Here.
Thomas Berry is absent. Robert Constant.
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Here.
Margaret Horvath.
Here.
Joseph Kaczynski.
Here.
Ray Muscat.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Recreation Director Greibel.
Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Clerk Bushevitz, and I know we have our, am I on? Yeah, I am. And John Riley, our City Treasurer, members of the audience, and those watching at home. This evening, we're going to be showing our appreciation for one of our very special residents, and we have many of them in our community who give of their time and talents to making Dearborn Heights such a great place to live, work, and in our case, in the Parks and Recreation Division, play. And we have Marilyn Summers with us this evening. She's an outgoing member of the Recreation Commission. She's been a member since 2006 and has served us very, very well over those years. Now, what does a Recreation Commissioner do? Well, they meet with me monthly and we discuss different aspects of the Recreation Department, and we kind of chart what the goals and objectives on a continual basis of what the Parks and Recreation Department will look like today, tomorrow, and well into the future. They work on the Recreation Master Plan, they volunteer at events, and they're just a great sounding board for myself, so it keeps me hopefully connected more with the community, so then we can definitely do a better job in providing the recreational needs for the community. Marilyn, if you want to come forward, and then we can talk about you a little bit more. That's kind of how the story ends, as she's stepping down after serving since 2006. But the way it all started is Marilyn, it was the first female president of the District 7 Dads Club. And you know, with the name Dads, that's kind of unique, isn't it? And the District 7 Dads Club started over 50 years ago by Pete Stevens and Unc Harris. They were just two guys out on a ball diamond, didn't know each other, is my understanding, and wanted some more recreation. And this goes way back, what, in the 50s or? Yeah, over 60 years. So they got together and started a grassroots recreation program, serving predominantly the south end of our community, youth baseball, basketball, and flag football, and just up until a couple years ago, hockey. And so it's just a great organization, and Marilyn was president for that organization for how many years?
6 years.
For 6 years. So, and to this day, still the only female president? Yeah, so she still holds that distinction too, which was quite unique. So when she stepped down from that position, I quickly gave her a call because I thought this is somebody we want on our team, somebody who can crack the Dads Club and get into leadership and show that desire to want to improve recreation for kids of our community. I wanted her on our Recreation Commission, and now she has worked very hard. She has been heavily involved in the Spirit Festival over the years and has volunteered at a number of other events for our department and has really contributed to the improvement of our department and where we are today. So if I could have the mayor come forward, and you can help me do the presentation. And I'll read the plaque that we're going to be giving to Marilyn. It says, presented to Marilyn Summers, in recognition for your contribution to the improvement of the quality of life for the residents of Dearborn Heights, as a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission from May 2006 through September of 2015, presented by the City of Dearborn Heights, January 26, 2016. Mayor?
It's indeed a pleasure to present this to you and all of the great work you've done for all the young men and women in the south end of Dearborn Heights. This plaque is only our token of appreciation, but I know that there's a lot of kids that are better because of your involvement, and thank you so much for everything you've done. Thank you.
If I knew this was going to happen, I wouldn't be here. I'd still stick this out. But I appreciate being asked for this commission, and I enjoyed it. It was a hard decision to leave, but other circumstances came into play. So it will continue. They've got great people doing the commission, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Marilyn, thanks for all you've done and you can continue to do for the D7 Dance Club.
Oh, they want a
Thank you.
picture before you.
I wonder if she wants one for council next time. What do you think?
Next, Chief Brogan for our presentation of Citizens Awards and Police Officer Acknowledgements.
I know. I don't know.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, good evening, Council, City Clerk. I actually have two Citizens Awards to present tonight from two separate incidents. Citizens Awards they're pretty unusual. We have great citizens here in Dearborn Heights, and we see people helping out on calls on a daily basis. If you were to ride with our squads or our engines, and you'd see neighbors coming out helping all the time. They're always there to help one another. But on some occasions, they go above and beyond where they really help save someone's life and put themselves at risk, which they certainly did in the case of these two incidents. And it's something that I wanted to have recognized. So for the first one, when I read you, this is for a fire that happened on Gertrude Street, and I'll read off their names, and if they could come up and join me up here. Troy Grantham, and Logan Grantham, his son. Mike Thomas, and Sean Ryan. So I wrote a letter to the mayor detailing what happened, but I won't read the entire letter. But to sum it up, the Granthams were coming over to visit their friends on Gertrude Street, and as they're walking up the driveway, there was kind of a hazy smoke in the area. They thought it might be a barbecue, but then Logan noticed that there was a house on fire down the street, just 1 or 2 doors down from where they were at. Oh, okay, right next door, yeah. And so they called out to their buddies, and all 4 of these guys went running over there. There was actually a woman, the homeowner, was unconscious on the kitchen floor, and her stovetop was on fire. Now the smoke was already banking down to the point where it's coming out of the house. Fire spread so fast, this isn't going to be an environment that you're going to survive in very long. And these guys, someone called for help right away. They checked all the doors. They were all locked. They were pounding on the doors. Logan broke open the screen door, and I think Sean.
Oh yeah, we both had a chance at
Well, kicking down the door isn't easy, and they kicked down the door. They notified there were 3 other people in the house. It would have been a really tough rescue. The guys that were on the call said that it would have been extremely difficult to try to get some of the people in the house out that were in there. They made their way to the woman. They pulled her out, and if it wasn't for their actions, we would have had 4 people trapped inside a burning house, and it would have been very unlikely that they all would have survived. And so we're very, very fortunate to have neighbors like this, and I think they deserve a round of applause. Mayor? So we have a certificate here the mayor can present you guys, and there's a copy of the letter included for your...
Sean Ryan?
Right here, Mr. Mayor.
Your award.
Thank you, sir.
We're proud of all of you. That is really heroic deeds that you did. Michael Thomas?
Me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Logan Grant? There you go, Logan. Thank you. And Troy Grantham. Congratulations. Thank you.
You guys want to get a picture with the... Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. No, thank you. And actually, we're going to take a picture here. Very good. Thank you, guys. All right. Thank you.
Thank you again.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. And the second fire, it took place, actually it was 8 days after this one. Yep, that was on Courier Street. Is Norm Seaver here? Or Jack Young? I only met him the night of that fire and I didn't see him outside. They did, well, looks like they're not going to be able to make it. But also on that fire, we had 4 of our police officers that I want to specifically thank, and that's Sergeant Richard Succi, Sergeant Paul Erickson, Officer Christopher Suggs, and Officer Michael Gondek. Now, on this afternoon, it was around 2:30 in the afternoon, and they were on Courier Street on an unrelated call, and they heard someone else calling out for help. They immediately started looking around to see what was going on, and a couple doors down, they see a house on fire. They went running down to investigate, and the whole first floor is burning, and there's someone in the upstairs window saying he needs help, he needs help. And so immediately they called the fire department, but they, and I just want to say, many times in a situation like this, fire department will get there and they'll say, I just saw him, he was up in that window, and they're calling for help, and the smoke will overcome them and they go down, and then it's a very unfortunate outcome 9 times out of 10 once that happens. You can get overcome by smoke so quickly, and so this was so crucial. What they did is to hunt around it, to have the clear-headedness to find a ladder. They found a couple of different ones. They finally found one that was suitable. They got it up to the window. The man started coming out. He crawled out head first. One of the officers went up on the ladder to keep him from falling off, and another officer had a second ladder and climbed up and grabbed him by his belt, and they helped him down without any injury at all. And so our guys got there, and again, now they just had a house fire. And it's so much easier when our guys show up and they say, everybody's out of the house. We can now take it down 1 notch where we're not going to take quite as many risks. And I know Chief Gavin is proud of you guys every day, but keeping people safe from fire is obviously a passion of mine. And like I said, we had a fatal fire just a few months back, and we never want to experience that. And thanks to your actions that day, you know, we didn't. So thank you guys very much. Yep. Yeah, and you guys all have a letter for that. So thank you. Oh, I got your letter. I'm sorry. All right, very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I don't want to stand next to Curly.
Hey, Rick. Nice seeing you again. Yeah, good job, guys.
Good job. Really appreciate what you guys do.
Grab one of these for one of the guys out there.
And for all the family members who came, you're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, but don't feel required to stay. Again, officers, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. I move to approve the order of business January 26, 2016, regular meeting of Dearborn Heights City Council as provided.
Seconded by Councilman Kozinski. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council for January 12, 2016.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
council minutes for the meeting held in Dearborn Heights on January 16th be approved as submitted.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Horvath. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
I stand corrected, it was January 12th, not 16th.
The next item on the agenda is the fund transfers and current claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move that the council concur and approve the current claims 6/1 through 6/21 as submitted.
Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton. Discussion?
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Musket.
I have a question, I guess it would be for Police Chief, about 621. They give an account of all the things they did, and they give a generic explanation of what vehicle, but the unit numbers are all missing. Is that something that's normal, or can we get that put on the next time we get these work?
We'll ask them to put it on. We had that issue with tire discount, and then they start putting all the vehicle units. So we'll work with Winders, and when they repair something, sometimes when they do a new car, install everything, the car's not numbered yet.
Okay.
Sometimes on that.
All right, thank you.
But we'll look into that so that they put everything down.
Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is item
8A.
8A.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
I move to concur with Mayor Dan Pletko the appointment of Mr. Richard Fetzer to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, term to expire December 2019. Also to reappoint Mr. Don Willis to both the Tifa and the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, terms to expire December 2019, as outlined in 8A.
Is there support?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski.
Mr. Chairman.
Discussion?
Can they serve both, in both areas?
Yeah, and in fact, we neglected when Mr. Fetzer was appointed, we forgot about the Brownfield.
Yes.
And it was brought to our attention from Tifa Director, Mr. Oliverio, so that's why this now came on and we took care of the second appointment.
Yeah, Mr. Fetzer was appointed to the TIFA last meeting, and I thought that there might have been some controversy as to getting an appointment this time, so there's no derivative activity.
No, I think that's recommended, right? You want them on both.
The Tiffin board and Brownfield board have the same board members.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda from Tifa Chairman Kellett, the audit report from Plant Moran.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move that council accept the TIFA audit from Plant Moran as indicated in 9A under the signature of John Kellett, the chairman.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is from TIFA Administrator Olivero, the 2015-2016 TIFA Budget Amendment.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve the amended 2015-2016 TIFA budget as submitted and outlined in 9B.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda, also from Tifa Administrator Olivero, installation of lights at Daly Park.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move the council accept the recommendations of TIFA Director Carmen Oliverio and authorize the purchase of lights on the basis of a quote in the amount of $36,307.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The ayes have it. Yes.
Mayor and clerk to sign.
And we'll include in that motion the mayor and clerk to sign.
Yes. That
Yes.
was moved, so I don't know for it. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is from Treasurer Riley, investment of fund report for December 31st, 2015.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
I move to receive, note, and file the investment of funds report dated for December 31st, 2015, as outlined in 9D.
Is there support?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, it might be well to say that this report comes to us by Treasurer Riley on the recommendation of TIFA that it passed the hands of the City Council.
Yes.
There's nothing to change in the resolution. It's just a matter of information.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda from Comptroller Vince McCary, a budget amendments.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council concur with the recommendations of Comptroller McCary and authorize the budget's amendments as attached to item 9E dated December, where do I see the date?
I don't see.
26th.
January
This is
26th
today's date.
at the top, January 26th.
Got you. Authorized in the communication dated January 26, 2016.
Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda, also from Comptroller McCary, a lease of a mailing system.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council approve the lease of a IN 700 mail machine through Neopost, our current vendor, and also backed up by the state of Michigan bid. The lease cost is $151.54 per month, first 12 months, and then the subsequent months, $211.54 thereafter. The lease is for a period of 48 months, as I understand. This also includes maintenance service. Current costs are running about $164.28.
Support.
Is there support by Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda from Assessor Foucault, 2016 Poverty Exemption Policy and Guidelines.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Horvath.
I move that the council approve the 2016 Poverty Exemption Policy and Guidelines to be used for resident taxpayers request for poverty exemption as a local board of review as outlined in 9G.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kosinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda from Recreation Director Greibel, appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Musket.
I make a motion to concur with Ken Greibel, our Recreation Director, in the appointment of Dave Rhodes and Mary Fisher. They have agreed to another 3-year term as outlined in 9H.
Is there support?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is from 20th District Court Administrator Atkins, a budget amendment.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. I move to approve Michelle Atkins' 20th District Court Administrator's request for a budget amendment to purchase 13 computers as outlined in 9I.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda, also from Michelle Atkins, Court Administrator, purchase of computers.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman
I
Kozinski.
move council consent to the 20th District Court request of Court Administrator Atkins and authorize the purchase of and approve payment for the remaining 13 computers needed for the court to complete its project for the amount of not to exceed $11,387.35.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Certainly all the details are defined in 9J.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda from Police Chief Gavin, purchase of computer monitors, keyboards, and mice.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council concur with Police Chief Gavin and authorize a request for purchase of 10 computer monitors, keyboards, and mice. The cost for this acquisition is $2,053.95. Dell will be the supplying vendor, and this should be authorized for payment when the equipment is delivered, all defined in item 9K.
Is there support for the motion? Support by Councilman Ray Musket. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda, also from Police Chief Lee Gavin, purchase of handheld portable radios.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve Police Chief Lee Gavin's request to purchase portable radios, 10 handheld radios. The total cost, including freight, is $38,283 as outlined in 9L.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda for Public Service Administrator Zimmer, Annual Safety Award Program.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
move council consent to DPW Director Zimmer's request and proceed with the annual safety award program. As in the past, the prizes will be 500, 300, and 200 awarded for first, second, and third place drawing winners, and the drawing to occur at the end year ending of 2015, but certainly it will occur in the near term.
Any support for the motion?
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is new business.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kozinski.
I move that the council approve business license renewal application for the Boneyard located on Telegraph Road in Dearborn Heights. It appears that everything is up to date with regard to back payments of water and tax bills, so.
There's two of them there.
And also Mogul Inc.
Also Mobile Inc. and the location of 2801 South Beach Daily, 48125.
Is there support for the motion?
Second.
Second by Councilman Musket. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is solicitation license for the American Legion Carl E. Stitt Post annual poppy sales.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve the application for solicitation license of the American Legion Stitt Post of poppy sales, and it looks like the date will be May 7th, 2016, as outlined in 13D.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Kozinski. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. That concludes the regular business portion of our meeting. Are there any announcements from any of the council members?
Mr. Chair?
Councilman Musket.
You know, I don't know how to begin this, but this past week, I've been in contact with our ordinance department and last week about incidents that are happening on Van Born Road. And our ordinance department is understaffed. We all know that. And I don't know how we're gonna fix that, but it needs to be fixed. But we need to find answers of what's going on there. I know for about a year and a half now, people have been coming in here, calling all of us up about certain businesses not holding up to standards that were set by our ordinances, particularly the one on Jackson and Van Born. My understanding, the guy does not have a license to sell vehicles yet. I don't see how someone can stay in business for a year and a half and not sell any cars. That's one. And I'm very upset over that. And now we're even having dealers from Detroit coming in and putting cars in our city in empty parking lots. And I know, as I speak with our ordinance department, that we just can't tow cars off of private property. I think this should go to corporate counsel, Mr. Chair, to find a way to stop this ongoing in this city, okay? We're getting inundated with cars with no license plates in people's driveways, in parking lots. You know, there's businesses out there that do a great job. And why should, you know, they're paying for everything and keeping the city clean, and yet these businesses aren't helping us at all. And, well, and now we've got another business that is a repair business is selling vehicles too. I don't see why we wait 10, 15, 20 days to shut this stuff down. Why can't we do it right now?
And the Catholic Social Services lot, the Catholic Social Services building has been vacant for years and for sale. That lot all of a sudden is full of cars, and I'm sure they're not.
They belong to the gentleman on Jackson.
Yeah,
my understanding, he bought that property according to our ordinance department, and I just can't see how anybody can stay in business for a year and a half and not sell a vehicle. Something is going on, and it's bothering our citizens, which then bothers me, okay? Because if we're not the voice of the citizens, I don't know who's going to be the voice of the citizens. And I don't care if it's one person, two people, three people complaining. I'm going to keep complaining about it until I see something being moved. We're not seeing any action at all. Nothing. And I'm very angry that we're not seeing anything. So I think that Mr. Miyake should find a creative way to stop this from going on. It's out of hand. And we give these people so many days to clean up their property, and they do it on the last day, if they even do it. And they'll just say, we're going to go to court. Heck with it, okay? That's unacceptable in today's day and age, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just angry, and I'm sorry, and I'm not speaking as a councilman, I'm speaking as a citizen, because I don't like it. I've traveled Van Born every day for the last 28 years. I've driven down that road, and I've seen it progress going downhill, and I don't like it. Businesses are taking advantage of our good-natured city, and I don't like it. There's ordinance violations going on all over the city, and I just can't see when our ordinance officers go out, they go out to a particular address, why they're not keeping a vigil on everything else that's going around us. They've got the tablets now. They could mark it down and go back and revisit the situation. Okay? I myself personally have turned in certain things, and they're not done yet, have not been revisited. So I'm upset, and that's what I wanted to say here tonight. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lisa X. Clayton.
Wait, Mr. Chairman, are you familiar with this, Mr.
No, I'm not.
There is an individual who's purchasing lots. The cars, as I understand it, do not have licenses on them. And
I mean, I've
can
already.
we tow them out? They're at the Pizza Hut. They're at the Catholic Social Services, previous use of the building.
They're next door to Buck's Barber Shop there. They're abandoned.
It might take more effort because we would need cooperation from the actual property owners. But if it's the will of the mayor and council, I'll gladly get together with Jack and Lee, and we'll come up with some way to deal with these things.
We'll try to address it.
I sure hope we can find something, because our ordinance department is overstressed with the number of people they have. How many times can they keep going back and talking with these people? I mean, it's got to drive the guy crazy, and it would drive me crazy too. And he needs help from our legal team and us to help him.
Councilwoman Lisa X. Clayton.
Thank you. I just want to add on to that, if I may, because we've been all doing fight blight drive-arounds, and that came to my attention, the Van Born corridor. But what I want to add is, as council, something we can do, and getting the calls on the used car lots and what's happening and the management of those car lots. I want to invite the public to the next Planning Commission meeting, because we're going to be discussing this, an amendment to the used car lot ordinance for this city. It involves the Tifa district, the Tifa authority, as well as the Planning Commission. Many city council members have also shared opinions. I've met with Jack on it as well, an ordinance, to say what can we do to address these, restricting how many vehicles you can have based on lot size. What's available. You can barely walk through those. What about the curbside appeal? What about screening? All these things, because what we're talking about is what's offensive to the residents that live in that area. And certainly there's more we can do. We want to be friendly to businesses, of course, but we also want it to be a quality controlled environment for our families. So I want to invite you to the Planning Commission meeting, which is Wednesday, February 3rd, here at City Hall at 6 p.m. Open to public. Would love to have you here and share your opinions with us. We want to hear from you and engage our residents.
One more thing, please.
Councilman Musket.
Subject. I do believe that, reading through our ordinances, that we have, I believe, an ordinance that doesn't allow a used car lot to open up within 1,000 feet of another used car lot. I do believe. If that's the case, then the one at Jackson is purely out of sync, because the one on the corner of Pelham and Van Born, it used to be Cooper's. I don't know what it is now. Mickey Cooper's.
Anthony's
now.
Used car lot.
He's within 1,000 feet of that very easily. Okay, so that right there is a violation, I feel. I mean, I'd have to go measure it off, but
And Anthony's, hold on. Anthony's been there for.
Yeah, a long time.
It was Mickey Cooper's for
Yes.
years and years. But there are a lot of cars all up and down Van Born near that vacant lot. That was a tanning booth at Jackson and Van Born.
We've got abandoned homes there on Van Born. It's all boarded up. God, it's a mess.
Any other announcements?
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Kozinski.
Some time ago, not in this present comeback to the council, but in a prior term of service, I distinctly remember participating in writing the text of an ordinance that had to do with this problem. And the substantial part of that ordinance, which I don't see in the book today, things as time goes on have changed, and we don't have the mechanism for enforcement, I suspect. The substantial part of the ordinance was that if a automobile was not currently licensed, that it violated the ordinance, and you could go on private property or public property to capture that equipment. The problem started with a significant amount of repair work that was done with these cars, not only in commercial or business districts, but in residential districts. And it was an effective piece of ordinance reading that corrected the problem. So I don't know what happened between the old ordinance book and the present ordinance book. And if anything, it certainly can be addressed by the normal blighting ordinances that we have. If somebody has an automobile that is not moved for a period of time, they're susceptible to have that automobile towed, off private or public.
Or at least ticketed, yeah. I know other cities will ticket if they don't have improper
I
plates
just
or
want
no
our
plate.
citizens to get answers. They're asking for answers, they're not getting any, and I think they need to get some answers.
Well, Mr. Chairman, part of the difficulty, I think, as I see it, in having difficulty in finding that section in the new ordinance book, is that we don't have an ordinance in place to enforce. So there has to be some kind of written document in the form of an ordinance to correct that situation. Either go back to the old ordinance book and restructure an ordinance to deal with this issue, or some other mechanism. And I, at the risk of repetition, I think our general blighting ordinance can fit that very well, especially if you're stacking cars on properties that are not even zoned for that purpose. So, Mr. Mayotke, you have your marching orders.
More than happy to do it.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Abdullah.
I think this is obviously very important, but I think what we also should focus on as a city is a lot more development on that particular street. I mean, the reason you're attracting these types of businesses is because there's not much demand. So basically you're left with all the leftover businesses that want to open up there. But I think if we made it easier for other businesses to open up that are more favorable towards the residents, such as, fruit markets, supermarkets, things that we all like, medical facilities, et cetera, dentist, et cetera. I mean, these are the types of things that all of us obviously would like to see there. I think you wouldn't see as much of those types of businesses opening up. Those types of businesses are typically attracted to lower income areas where basically the city doesn't even look at them, and then they can do their own thing. Obviously, we need to enforce that, no doubt about it. But I think we also got to make it a little bit easier for the more favorable type of businesses to start opening up there. And then once you do that, you're going to have more and more people opening up there, kind of like you've had on Ford Road. Ford Road had a lot of businesses that were not open, and then there was more and more demand, and now you have the residential houses that were worth $150,000 to $200,000 that all sold now between $600,000 to $800,000 for people that are going to be tearing those houses down and putting up businesses. So there's obviously a lot of demand there. And what is a business attracted to? More profit. And the only way they're going to make more profit is if we made it easier for them to open up those types of businesses along Van Born. And then it would have, spillover into residential areas. I mean, just domino effect. So I'd just like to see us as a city also focus on attracting, quote unquote, I hate to use the word, but better businesses in that particular area.
Nice to
And
have-
I'm in favor of it, that's for sure.
Nice to have a papayas or a Greenland
Yeah,
down
you know,
there.
whatever it is, yeah.
We had talked, Mayor, years ago with Taylor, because Taylor's, that's their Tifa district, and try to do some joint things like we did on Warren Avenue with Taylor.
Well, one of the things that, I brought this up at the dinner I was at, the Tale of Two Cities, but this council interviewed some consultants, and one was a planning firm out of Ann Arbor. And the reason that we were all attracted to them is that they had staff who were looking and will be putting a master plan, and Councilman Abdullah, exactly what you said is to encourage, because when you go down the street, there's an inordinate amount of repair shops.
Right.
And which is how, you question how much can an area, both on the Taylor side as well as the Dearborn Heights side. And so coming to an economic focus, and then we could concentrate on economic development. So I completely, totally agreeable.
One option, obviously, usually attracts something like this. It's very similar to when you have a strip center. You always want one main hub business at the corner or in the center, like, for example, a Target, a Kroger's, et cetera, et cetera. When you have that type of a business open, for example, on Van Born, that's going to attract a lot of other businesses to open up right near that, because that's going to be the main hub. That's bringing in a lot of customers, which would have spillover into the smaller businesses, the barber shops, dentists, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I just think as a city, we got to focus on monitoring these types of businesses. Obviously, that's not good, and I'm definitely in agreement with you, Ray, on that. But also just getting a little bit more of the bigger businesses that can attract other smaller businesses in the area to make it more attractive. No doubt about it.
Good point.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilwoman
if I
Lisa Hicks
may
Clayton.
add, I was at a strategic planning meeting yesterday with Dearborn and their economic development for their downtowns. And I wrote down the quote that I thought was really true, is your business corridor is the gateway to your neighborhoods. And we have to focus on that quality again. And I wanted to reiterate, because I do serve on the regional economic development team, there are tools available to us, including SIMCOG's redevelopment business corridor toolkit that helps you figure out what kind of assessment you need to do for businesses to attract that you're missing. For example, those quality businesses, as well as consider the redevelopment ready community program. So that's just what I wanted to share, because those resources are available to us. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton, thank you. Any other announcements?
I had, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just had one more. We had conversation 2 weeks ago that I thought went really well about our IT and about the website and different programs. And, we sounded like we were eager to explore and make improvements. And this has been in the works, working with some students as well as community leaders and residents to develop a survey just to get the pulse of our community, where they are and how they feel, and solicit their feedback. And the purpose is to collect those ideas and present them in a positive way for maybe improving what we have available or take into consideration. So I want to let you know that that was launched this weekend, and we want to encourage our residents to participate in that survey. It's very simple to use, but again, it's for positive impact. We want to make a difference in our community. So you can find that by visiting, I'm on Facebook, Lisa Hicks Clayton, Dearborn Heights City Council member. You can find it there. You can find it on the Make a Difference page. You can even Google it and put in citizen survey, Dearborn Heights citizen survey, because that's what it is. It's a citizen survey engagement piece, and you can pull it right up. And we want to again encourage you, because it's for the positive. So, okay, thank you.
Councilwoman, thank you. Our state senator, David Kniezek from Dearborn Heights, has initiated a donation for bottled water for the city of Flint. Several of the elected officials, including myself and other members of the council, are going to donate water or money, and there's going to be drive at the, is it at the Redford
It's the
JC's?
JC's.
On Beach Daily.
On January 29th
Yes, Friday.
from 9 to 6
10 a.m. to 7 p.m. with the press conference at 6 p.m.
at 6 p.m.
And that's the JC's on Beach Daily, just north of 5 Mile.
So if anybody has any time or any bottled water to donate to help out the situation in Flint,
Just to let you know, Costco doesn't have any water. Don't go to Costco. I've been there.
Clerk Walter Persevitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a note, by the time our next council meeting occurs, we will have the ballots out, March 8th, presidential primary, to inform our voting public, which I hope increases dramatically. There's a little different twist this year to the presidential primary. In 2012, we had a Republican presidential primary and a Democratic caucus. This year, we have both a Democratic and a Republican primary. There will be two separate ballots at the polls this year, folks. You will have to declare a Republican or a Democratic ballot in order for us to issue it. So please be aware, it's the laws of our legislature. People have been objecting to it. Please bear in mind that we just have to follow the rules. On the note of elections, we just got word very recently that there will be a May election, so we'll be very busy this year. District 7 will be conducting a election in May. On that note, I see some young people in the audience for the first time in a long time that are here and are sticking around, so welcome. Whatever reason you're here for, come back, please. I mean that. I went to, spoke to about 50 high school students last week, registered many of them to vote. I'm going this Thursday to speak to a large number of them again. So we need your participation if you're of age. And finally, we all know during the presidential election lines are long. I'm asking for people who have computer experience to step forward and help us out at this election. We're working on a pay schedule. I just increased the pay for some of our workers. I don't want to quote your price right now, but we're looking in the neighborhood of $170 for the day and for training. So if you're so inclined, I welcome you. My number is 313-791-3432. I'll repeat that again slowly, and if our fine staff might scroll that number for us, 791-3432. Give us a call. We'll give you all the details about becoming one of our fine poll workers. So thank you. And the ballot should go out next week. If you don't have them within a week after, please call my office. Don't wait until the day before the election, say I didn't get my ballot. Call us. The mail doesn't, every so often, pieces of mail don't get delivered, so make us aware of any issues that you have. And thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman?
Clerk, thank you.
In light of, because elections are always on the first Tuesday after the first Monday, March 8th would be a regular city council meeting, so this body needs to decide on a different date, right?
Mr. Chairman, we already addressed, excuse me, I'm sorry, Mayor. I think we already addressed that prior to our, last year. We made the former chairman aware, and we decided to have the council date on the Wednesday.
And it's on the calendar.
It's on the calendar. It was published. It was published in the required publishing at the end of last year. Okay. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Yes, March 9th is the scheduled special day of our council session.
Councilman Kozinski?
I believe that's, that change is clearly addressed in the charter. If you cannot conduct your regular business meeting on a scheduled day, it will take place the following day. And that's exactly what happened in this case. It fortunately was published ahead of time so that everything's in order.
So we're in compliance with the charter, and everyone will mark our calendars that council meeting will be Wednesday, March the 9th.
March 9th.
Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Treasurer John Riley?
Hello, City Council. I wanted to make the residents aware that the Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority has replaced the battery recycling boxes that were located at the Canfield Center and the Eaton Center. And they've installed 2 new battery recycling boxes at the 2 libraries, the John F. Kennedy Jr. Library and at the Caroline Kennedy. The battery recycling program is a very highly used program. And so, but what you're going to see, these boxes are nice because they're available 24 hours a day and they're outside of the buildings. But what you're going to see is that the inside collection locations be removed so that the recycling locations are going to be at those 4 outside locations. And so that, again, that's at the Canfield and Eaton Center, the JFK Junior Library, and the Caroline Kennedy Library. So you'll see the green boxes out there, and then you just put your, wore out batteries into there, and that way they don't end up in the landfill and, cause problems to the landfills. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Treasurer Riley,
I use
thank
them all
you.
the time.
Any other
I'm
announcements?
sorry, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, may I go back? I have 2 questions to follow up. I'm sorry, is it too late to go back?
Go ahead.
Just I don't know if the administration's in a position to share with us. I just wanted to see if we had an update on the FEMA mitigation grant as the month is coming to a close. Have we heard anything else?
The month is not over, and there is, and we have not heard as of right now.
Okay. And then I understand that the Army Corps of Engineers, it's an independent study and it's closing to the end of that. If we had any thoughts on strategy, because it's so, as you know, it's so competitive, and I think it's going to be more so, especially with what's happening in Flint.
Yes, but one of the things that I've mentioned to the chairman in the month of February, and there'll be enough time so that Chairman Constance agreed that and wants to make sure it's available to the public, so we're going to allow enough time so that we can present it to residents and they can attend if they wish. Just real quickly, I made contact with someone who's been a longtime friend of mine, former Senator Carl Levin, and tried to encourage Senator Levin to become, in essence, a lobbyist for the city of Dearborn Heights for this project. Senator told me that he felt that it's not appropriate for legislators to retire and then go to work for defense contractors and other people and lobby Congress. So he would not do that, and I begged him, and he said, even though it's for a good public purpose, if you want law advice, I will be there for you, but I am not doing any lobbying under any circumstances, and I respect that. So I asked him as to who he would recommend that we should get, and he recommended that, he said, you know, you have an excellent congressman in Debbie Dingell, and I would suggest that the city ask her to be the point person for your efforts in Washington, D.C. And the Congresswoman has been nice enough to agree to do that. So I think this community needs to rely on her, and we will have input into her, but rely on her to be our point person. In addition, I expect and will ask, because Commissioner Webb has made contact on our behalf with Senator Peters. And so I expect that Senator Peters will send a representative. So we're getting a lot of good support from our elected officials, from the local level, the state level, the county level, and the congressional level. I was really hoping that Senator Levin would agree to act in that regards, but like I said, I respect his point of view, and is, I think, showing a very good example for all people in Washington that it's not really right to go back and work as a lobbyist in that sense. So, but that's who I was doing a lot of promoting and after Thanksgiving and through Christmas, but I could not get him to change his mind.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for the update.
Mayor, thank you. Any other announcements? Mike?
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. Just want to talk about a couple of upcoming events. Tomorrow, January 27th at 6:30 p.m. at Carrollton County Library, we will be starting the first part of our series on Brainstorm, Workout for the Mind. Join Don McDonald and Cheryl Deep of the Institute of Gerontology at Wayne State University as they teach tricks to brain health and training. Additional sessions will be on February 24th and March 30th. This Saturday, January 30th, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Carrollton County Library, join vegan cook Jenny Gordon as she demonstrates how to make your favorite dishes vegan. From shepherd's pie to cupcakes, come out and get some samples. Also want to mention that at JFK Library now from 1 to 1:45 p.m. from January 14th through April 28th, there's going to be a children's storytime hour at JFK as well. Come on out for a good story, crafts, and music. In addition, by request, we will be trying out highlighting a recipe of the month. This is a very new development. So if you have a recipe you want to share on our website or newsletter, let us know. The exact details of how it's going to be shared will be coming soon. But just wanted to alert the public to that. Finally, I wanted to talk about our participation in the Flint Water Drive. The libraries are also collection points for if anyone wants to donate any water bottles. We're going to be dropping them off at the Redford event this Friday, and we're going to continue to collect water until the need has abated if it extends beyond this Friday. So, and we're going to be trying to drop it off weekly. So if anyone wants to participate in that, they can. This was also by resident request. That's all for now. Thank you for your time, and see you at the library.
Mike, what time was the one, the cooking, the vegan cooking, what time was that?
Oh, that's Saturday, January 30th, and it's from 3 to 5 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Cafferty, thank you. Recreation Director Greibel.
Good evening, everyone. Parks and Recreation Department is gearing up for summer. I know it's not even Groundhog's Day yet, but we're getting into our park permits for pavilions. We'll be on Monday, February 1st, 8 o'clock when the office opens, till 10 o'clock. We take walk-ins only. After that, we'll take phone request and walk-ins. And then starting March 1st, we then allow non-residents to sign up for all our parks. Park locations are Van Houten Park, where the splash pad is located, Parkland Park, and Swapka Park. And believe it or not, picnicking is still the #1 recreational activity around. And if you go to any of our parks, I think you'll find that to be very true. So if there's a specific date you want to get, suggest you get there early. We have rates and all other information you can get by calling our department at 791-3600, or you can go to our website. Park permits start Memorial Weekend and go through Labor Day weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? So hearing none, this is our public comment portion of our meeting. Please come up to the podium. Please direct your comments to the chair. Please state what your question is, if it's for the mayor and administration, for the council, for the clerk, the treasurer. Please try to keep your comments brief and down to 3 minutes if you can. And please state what information you want or what resolution you can suggest. And please state your street and where you live. And with that, any public comments? Steve Roberts, our Watershed Stewards co-chair. Take your time. Good to see you.
Steve Roberts, Penny Road. I have a question about Penny Road. Between Westlake and Banner, that was laid, I don't know how many years ago, I think 7 or 5. It's falling apart by just breaking apart. We're coming out in chunks of cement. Was that ever had any way of getting that fixed by the company that put it down? I don't know what the warranty was on it.
DPW Director Zimmer, any Penny between Westlake
Or
and
maybe
Banner?
Dan Brooks.
Or Dan Brooks.
One or the other.
No, we're not familiar with it at this time. We'll have to take a look at it, and maybe we have to get you some more information. It may have been our cement contractor. It may have been part of another project. We'll have to take a look. Don't forget that the gas company is also doing some concrete work, some work of their own, and some of their concrete repairs are also, quite far behind. So we'll take a look at it. We can let you know what we find out.
Thanks for letting us know, Steve.
Yeah, I just don't want you to miss out.
Steve, thank you. Anybody else? Michelle Brennan. Good.
My name is Michelle Brennan. I reside at 22911 South Brookside Drive, of course, Dearborn Heights. I've lived here for 48 years on South Brookside, and it saddens me, in 48 years, what was a prime subdivision, people would give anything to live in there, to where we are today. And as you reported,
Councilman Musket.
Yes, thank you very much for speaking up. Because Van Born Road is just bringing in blight. I wrote down a bunch, but I'm just going to speak from the top of my head. Blight is not coming. Blight is here. Okay, we have the south end. I'm not comparing, okay, but to the north end, you've let us, we're gone. We're under the rug. I mean, I know it sounds really bad to speak like this, but in 48 years, it's not prime property anymore. We're lost. I mean, we really are lost. There's not much there for citizens. There's not much there for kids. We have the Heather Lane Park. Okay, whatever you want to call it, it's a gathering spot for drugs. It really is. Either sell it off. I know it floods. I understand it floods. Put an ice skating rink in there. Put lighting in there. Do something with that piece of. It's been there ever since I was a little girl. And it's just nobody wants to even cross through the park because it's not safe. You don't know what's going to be there at nighttime. You don't want to go through there. Okay, we have. I heard from some of the other neighbors. I mean, we got drug issues. I mean, this isn't cute anymore. It's not a place. I can move, but I don't want to move. I have a beautiful home. I mean, my husband and I, we put a lot of money. This is my investment. I don't want to. I want to see growth, but we need help from. And it's like I've told some of the other people, we can complain all amongst ourselves. You can go and chitter-chatter all you want, but until we all come together, to resolve these problems, I mean, it's not a pretty sight. And Van Born Road, I'm telling you, what's with the restaurants? You guys have given us nothing on there. We either go to Taylor, or we have to come up to Ford Road. We do have some on Telegraph, but you've wiped everything out. We don't have any mom and pop shop, the hamburger joint. Or right across the street, we have Midway. What's on the other side? What's on Dearborn Heights side? It's all out. There's nothing. If you drive up and down there, there's nothing there.
Tell ways.
Wait. There is. I take that back. We can still go to Tom's House of Sunday. I think they're still there.
Mirage closed.
Mirage is gone.
Yeah, Mirage closed and it's
Pizza
being
Hut's gone.
opened up as a sports bar.
Oh, okay. I don't even know. There's appliance. There's a
Telway
used-
is going to open, but both of those are
What's going
not the
on
result
with
of
There's a
anything with
used
the
appliance store in here now
anything
somewhere.
with the city of Dearborn Heights.
Excuse me, what is going on with Telway? Does anybody know why that's been closed for so long?
It's being held up by Wayne County. They're in the middle of inspections with us. I talked to the owner directly. He's still very excited about opening up that location, but the health department is making him jump a lot of hoops.
Yeah, Telway's a pretty known, chain.
Franchise.
Yes, I heard that.
That's not true. I talked directly with the owner. When I saw that stuff posted on Facebook.
But this has been years. This isn't months. This is years. I mean, we've gone through
Yeah.
presidents since that has gone down.
Correct, it has.
I mean, we're not talking like, a week or two here. I mean, it can't be this difficult of a subject. I mean, I'm a housewife. If you need my help, give me a call.
I know there's work being done in the old Leprechaun building now. Somebody's renovating that.
It always
They wanna
starts
turn
like
it into
that.
an
Nothing. What
appliance
happened to Pizza Hut?
Yeah, Pizza Hut
What was
moved, and I used to stop there for lunch all the time.
It's abandoned. What I'm
That's
saying.
been sold and resold, but
Right.
no one's.
But what I'm saying is that I have friends that live on this end, and I drive down Ford Road and whatever, and I envy. You have a Kroger's, and you have a Target, and you have a little place to go get a burger, or you can go get a good steak or whatever. We don't have any of this, okay? I have a big dog, and I have a gun. That's what I have in my house, okay? And I feel good with that. I really do. And it's legal. Everything's legal, trust me. But that's how I have to live now. I don't want to live like that.
Michelle, if you would, because if you've got some friends here, but I'd invite you to be a member of our task force, as I mentioned, with the planning. Please, after the meeting, give me your phone numbers so we can contact you. We'd love to have your input. I know in the Mirage, there is an individual who wishes to buy it and develop it. You've been working because they need a liquor license, and that's what's holding that up on a lot of these buildings. But the thing that we want to do is put all our heads in expertise, and whatever it takes
Exactly.
to do it, we want to, so we would certainly like your input.
And we also, and I'll end quickly, because Bob knows me, I can go on for a while here. But, the rats, okay? I have a really clean house, trust me. And I live behind the party apartments. I am not kidding you. And I don't know what animal. I know it's not a bear, I know that much. And I know it's not a deer. But there are holes back there that are big enough to put a child in. And they're made by an animal of some type. Okay, and you think it's a groundhog? Is it a groundhog?
Possum,
Is
could
it?
be a
Okay.
possum. They're pretty ugly looking, but
Okay.
they make pretty big holes.
And and thank goodness Jordan has come out, they've looked, they said, you got nothing problem in your yard, but there are rats, and I know we have that problem here.
Mm-hmm.
But these are things that, we don't want to be forgotten.
Right.
We want growth.
And
We need growth.
we want to redevelop that, make it pristine, and we want your input. And you can sit in on the meetings. I'll invite you, and we're going to put as many collectively, and then the council is going to be invited also. But we want to have these group out of Ann Arbor who has dealt with specifically areas that are becoming unattractive, and we wanted to do that as ASAP. And so hopefully, and in fact, Jack, who's on ordinance, and Chrissy and all of us have talked about it. So don't leave without giving me your phone numbers and names, and I'll include you on the committee,
Great.
and we'd love to have your input.
Remember, we used to also walk the sidewalks and mark them up. You guys got all mine. I had like 20 and marked 18, so we did all 20. We don't do that anymore. It's like we quit caring. So we need to start doing something.
Michelle, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Any other comments? Go.
Hi, I'm Mary Anderson. I live at 5470 Eden, Dearborn Heights, because you guys changed the sign and took Drive down, so now we're always confused with E10. But anyways, the sports bar thing. The Mirage has a very small parking lot. You're going to have people parked all up and down the sidewalks. And right behind the Mirage, you have homes. So I don't think that's going to work out too well. And number two, all these cars that are coming in from whoever this person is, why has no one done a background check on this guy? Where are these cars coming from? Where are they going? I mean, is this something illegal? I watch a lot of crime shows, so I would like to know what's behind all this. Has anyone looked into it?
I think that's in a process right now.
Okay.
I'm making a note.
Okay, so that and the restaurants too. I mean, we don't need bars, and we've got too much going on like that now. We need restaurants, we need coffee shops, we need places where the neighbors can go. We don't need drunks up and down the side street, up and down Pardee. Because you can get, what, maybe 30 cars in the Mirage parking lot?
He'll have to have adequate
Yeah, so, you know,
adequate
please
parking.
think about that before you allow that sort of business to come in. Because we got bad enough, and the repair shop on Heather Lane and Van Born, why is he allowed to let that place look like that?
It's terrible, and he cleans it up, and then he gets you ticketed, he cleans it up, and then the cars come back in. He doesn't really do any retail work. Those cars are, as I understand it, taken and shipped elsewhere.
Well, he
So-
doesn't even clean the weeds out in the.
Some of the cars have been there for years.
Yeah, they've been there for years. It's where, I mean, you look at Bill's across the street, it's neat and clean and all done up. Matt down the street, his is perfect. And then you look at this guy, you're coming right out of my subdivision, this is what you see.
My father built a building on Van Born and operated for 50 years and sold it, and it's still there and looks nice and used.
Exactly, you know, let's get the ordinance officers to at least push on these commercial buildings. You're not getting to our neighborhoods and getting those houses, and I understand you gotta keep coming back and coming back on these people, but at least the people along Van Born that look that bad, you know, when friends of mine come into my subdivision, I'd like for them not to come to my door and say, oh my God, what is going on with your area here?
Trust me, I was at that podium for many years talking about the same thing.
Oh, yeah?
Okay? And I can assure you that Jack, with the limited resources that he has, is doing as much as he can
Sure he is.
right now. God, I wish I could find you $1 million a year. I'm not kidding. I've complained about blight and ordinance problems for 15, 20 years.
Well, see, that's the problem. It's been let go for so long. The south
Correct.
end has just been pushed to the side.
I hear you, believe
So
me.
you know, you can't do it with one or two officers now, because there are so many businesses and homes that have been allowed to go to blight. Instead of pushing these people and saying, you got 10 days to clean this up, or here's a $500 fine, and we're gonna do it for you. You know, so now, no, you can't do that, because these guys there's not enough of them. But if you start one business at a time, one section of town at a time, and force these people to clean up debris and, you know, I've got people in my neighborhood that still have raked leaves piled on their driveways. You know, so, you know, just start with a small area and push it. Let's get it done.
Absolutely. Ordinance Director,
Yeah, I just
Claire?
want to respond to the car situation on Van Born. What we were talking about earlier is true. It's difficult to get cars removed on private property. I've been working with the police department for the last month or actually almost 2 months in regards to the building at Jackson and Van Born. It started with all these cars started showing up. They had paved a parking lot without a permit, and it was kind of chasing them down to get them to do things correctly. He has moved cars down. I just want to bring you up to date because I think we've got a resolution as of today. He has moved cars into the old Catholic Social Service building, and we did find out as of today, and that's because I had a ordinance officer kind of stake out and hide out on the side street. We found out that the cars in the Pizza Hut actually do belong to him, or they belong to a dealer out of Detroit and then were sold to him. So I'm working very directly with the police department. The 3 cars that are in the Bucks Barber parking lot shop, or the barber shop there, if they're not towed already today, They should be towed by tomorrow. Those 3 we are towing out of there. They're clearly abandoned. They're dangerous in the condition that they're sitting, so we're having those towed away. You made a really good suggestion, and that's something that we just did about a month ago. Every person that's assigned to a specific area of the city has created zones in their area. And so we are going to have the opportunity to see things at a more concentrated level. So, for instance, today, the ordinance officer that's assigned to the southeast side, his zone today that he worked was strictly Van Born Road and then the bottom part from Pelham to Southfield. So he worked that whole area. We since last week, including myself on last Friday, we went to every shop on Van Born to find out, do you have cars that you're working on that you've parked somewhere else? Because we found that even Matt had some cars parked at different locations. They've kind of worked together. So one thing that we've been encouraging them to do is to form maybe a business association amongst themselves, and they can be part of the development that a lot of us are looking for. And I just want to say one other thing. Several years ago, before I even worked for the city, myself and someone from our neighborhood association, and by the way, we were definitely the forgotten part of the city. We own that. We took it. So I know that people in the South End think that they're neglected, but we truly felt we were the neglected ones. But we tried to start an association in the southeast side. We went down there. We set up a meeting. We came on our own time. There was a lot of people that came. The problem is from that meeting, we didn't get a lot of participation. Folks came to the meeting, they had a lot to say, but then they left. And I just want to tell you, and the chief will tell you more than anybody, he can tell you, when we formed an association in our neighborhood, which is the northeast corner of the city, I border Detroit and Redford. I have a lot of the same issues that you do in my neighborhood. We formed an association, but more importantly, we formed a neighborhood watch. And by doing so, we made a presence. We didn't go to the city every time we needed something. We really kind of worked as a community. And the chief will tell you that we had the largest amount of crime in our little section there, Telegraph to West Parkway, Joy Road to Ann Arbor Trail. We had more crime in that area, in that zone, than any other area in the city, and within 1 year's time, we eliminated it. We got it out. But it was because of what we did as a community, not because of what we kept. You know, we knew that the city was limited. There was only so much that they could do, that we took our own community back. And to this day, we still have a neighborhood watch. We still are proud of all the changes that occur in our area. And I've talked to Bob about this a lot, and I've talked to Lisa, and definitely with the mayor. We want to get something organized in your area. We want it to be positive. We want people to say, we're looking for a positive change. What we don't need is more people saying what's not being done. We can start talking about what's being done. So I appreciate people thinking that we're understaffed. I think what happened was that we got a little behind, but we're getting caught up. We're writing more tickets than we're ever written before. We're getting compliance on things. We're getting things corrected. And we spend a lot of time both in the southwest and the southeast side of the city. And I just want you to know that, okay? So, and I just wanted to update you on the car situation. We addressed it directly with him. We gave him some very strict limits today as far as what we expect and how we want these cars removed in a certain amount of time. And he understands that he's going to end up in court if he doesn't comply. So, all right?
Great.
Thank you.
Jack, thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, talking about cars, I do have a question for Jack. Jack, I have a question. Entertainment Express, what's happening over there?
Well, you know he was shut down.
Yeah.
He can't operate any vehicles over there. I've seen him limited times there at the property. What's interesting about it is right before he was shut down by the state, we actually got him to come into compliance with a lot of what were violation issues on his particular property. I'm not getting direct answers on how long it's going to be before they allow him to reopen. If he is going to be allowed to reopen, there was an extensive amount of violations from the state, and it looks to me like it would take him a very long time to reopen based on that. But I will tell you that the parking lot that he was using behind Buck's Palace, or Buck's Place, and next to the Stitzpos, I think we're going to probably have that in court within the next 30 days. And our end result, our goal is to get an order from the court to have all those vehicles removed from that parking lot. They're not allowed to be stored there. It's a parking lot. It's not a storage lot. So,
Mr. Chairman? Just a little side note. It is on the market. I mean, maybe that's an indication. It's listed for sale, not with me, but I mean, it is listed for sale with the real estate company. So maybe that's an indication as far as his future plans.
That's good to know.
I'm sorry? Right. The one next to the boneyard. Yeah, it's listed for sale with the real estate company.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kaczynski.
hopefully the listing won't invite a similar owner. We have to settle the issue now. Let's go after them now and remove all the cars that are stored in parking lots.
Oh, no, no, that's two different things. This is a limo business.
Well, he's saying, though, he has cars stored there. Isn't that correct, Jack?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, but there's some compounding that I don't want to get into the
Yeah.
financial nature of them,
Yeah.
that I think there's probably people looking at those assets.
Any other comments?
Wait, you got somebody.
One last.
If you had to leave or not. 2
Dean,
points.
My name is Ken Helms.
Yeah.
I'm actually at 2100 Kinlock with the Canfield Arena, and I would just like to drop off some information to give you an update on the 2015 year in review of what we've done in the building.
Great.
That reminds me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
What happened with the,
We did.
This is residents for the east
that reminds me, what did we ever do with the rental?
We should talk.
Thank you, sir.
Because,
Did we ever resolve that?
All right, just to give you a brief overview, the red folder you have there is basically all the renovations that we did in 2015. It's pretty much covers all the majority of it, from anywhere from the roof to electrical, the plumbing, and things like that. There's pictures in there to show you before and afters of some of them. In the last section, like the last 3 pages, I think it's 26, 7, and 8. It's the remaining issues that we still have that we're addressing and working on. And actually, the very, very last page is, I actually took those pictures today. It is actually our walking around the building, there was 14 points of entry that the animals decided that they want to stay there. Now, Rocky the raccoon has been a great tenant there, hasn't disturbed anything. He's a little upset that we've captured some of his family members, but hopefully next spring, when we address the outside of the building, we will be able to, besides the cosmetics, we'll be able to come up with a way to secure the outside of the building. The blue one is business that we have conducted in the building for 2015. It reviews basically any entity that we've dealt with in the in business. Basically, to make a long story short, we took the building over about a year ago. We had a tremendous amount of renovations that we had to do, and really we couldn't really take off until about August 1st. So what you're seeing there is pretty much what we've been able to produce since August 1st. We've been able to secure everything there that's in there, the different entities that are there. They're already coming back for 2016, and there's various other groups that are looking to use the facility, and other programs that we're bringing online right now. So like, for example, this past weekend we ran a soccer clinic. We had 120 kids sign up for it, and we are actually getting ready to launch in the next couple of weeks our futsal leagues for kids and adults. Our hockey leagues are taking off. Right now, we are looking at this point, the building is stable enough that we have structurally wise and that we're looking to put the lights in for the open skating. We had to get to the building to a certain point actual physically working correctly, and cosmetically, it's to the point now where we can start to bring a large amount of people in and feel comfortable with what they're
Great,
doing.
Ken. Councilwoman Horvath?
Mr. Mayor, I guess I would address it to him, or maybe Ken Greibel. About a year or so ago, they came to us and asked us about the fee that their annual fee. Did we ever do anything about that? So they're still paying us that annual fee.
Well, this, if I may.
Pardon me?
Councilor Miyake?
If I may, this is
Yeah.
very interesting because there were a number of questions that I raised, if you may recall.
Yeah.
And those questions were put to Gary, who basically apparently works with Ken, and those questions were never really answered. As a matter of fact, we could, Mr. Greibel and I could go into quite a bit of detail with regard to that, but I don't know that this would be the best forum to end up doing that.
All right, I understand.
I mean, if, you know, especially if you would want to call, but it's a very interesting history, and a lot of the questions that I raised were never really, I think, adequately answered.
Okay.
And they still haven't been
Okay.
answered. So
Okay.
I would advise against any sort of abatement when you don't even know who necessarily is going to be able to take advantage of
Okay.
any sort of an abatement.
So Ken, if you have anything else in the future, feel free to call myself or the council secretary, and we'll put you on, and we'll.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to give you an update where we were at, and so you guys can see actual pictures of what we've done.
Thank you. Ken, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Any other comments? Marge? Support?
Second.
Second by Councilman Musket. Good evening, everyone. Thank you.